Hey guys, Yocom here. The fairies are coming! The fairies are coming!
What the?
With Pokemon Gen 6, we saw the introduction of Pokemon X and Pokemon Y, and Nintendo dropped the ball and didn't give us a third version or sequels. But we're not going to talk about that because I'm not bitter about it anymore, you know? Because Nintendo doesn't suck sometimes.
Discover a breathtaking 3D world.
I absolutely loved Pokemon X. The fact that it was all in 3D, we didn't have the little sprites anymore for the character, we had the larger sprites with the really big heads. Weird. The fact that you could customize your player character, that was something we'd never seen before in Pokemon, and I didn't even think that was going to be a feature we'd get in the future. And now I get to go to fun fashion stores and shop and dress my character up.
What the?
Yeah, I didn't really do that very much. It was cool, but I didn't really do that very much because, you know, it's a Pokemon game, but I had a little bit of fun with it.
Mega Evolution. Take your Pokemon to the next level.
The introduction of Mega Evolution. Who would have thought that you have a fully evolved Charizard and he's going to evolve even further? And then, of course, he gets two versions because they love Charizard more than any other Pokemon, apparently. But then Mewtwo, of course, because Mewtwo's really cool and he gets two versions as well. Well,
What
the Megas were really cool. So I loved my Mega Lucario. Now, I had two fighting Pokemon in my party because I had Lucario and then I also had Pangoro. But I can't forget about how cool Froakie was. And then he eventually evolved into Greninja. What an amazing Pokemon. Easily one of my favorite from Gen 6. Of course I had to follow my rule and choose the water starter. And I loved him. He was so cool. I also had a Furfrou on my team. I didn't know this. I just got it because, you know, it was like a poodly looking dog and I've worked with animals for a long time. So I got him. Normal Pokemon. Awesome ability, by the way. He was a tank in that game for me. But the awesome thing about him, I got to take him to a groomer. Like, yeah, who would have thought that they were going to include a Pokemon where you have to take it and get its form changed by grooming? He had like the 3, 4, 5, I don't know, different combinations of haircuts that he could get, and I love them all except for the heart one because the heart one really sucked.
What the?
Talonflame was awesome. I always had issues with the region birds of each game. Either they were just kind of lame looking or they were just flying. There wasn't anything unique about them. You know, Staraptor was pretty dope, but still just didn't really do it for me. I had him because, well, you got to have a bird on your team, but all of that changed when I had Talonflame. So we saw Fletchling in the opening scene where you're sleeping in bed and he comes in, he flies around the house, and then he attacks you to wake you up in the morning, which is okay because that's how I prefer to be woken up in the morning, with a bird spearheading me. I mean, doesn't everybody? But with Talonflame, flying fire. I couldn't remember if there were any other except for Moltres, but Moltres is a legendary and I don't use legendaries on my team because, you know, I'm cool. And my lovely ace of my team, when they introduced Fairy type, I was so excited.
What the?
It was so cool to have another type introduced into the game so far ahead. The last time we saw anything new, it was back in the second generation with the addition of Dark and Steel. So here they are, years later. I'm an adult at this point. I'm no longer a kid playing Pokemon. I'm an adult. At least I like to think that I'm an adult playing Pokemon because Pokemon's a kid's game, and that makes sense to me. So when they introduced the new type, everybody was just so, what's this new Pokemon gonna be? There was the silhouette of the new Eeveelution. Some people were kind of speculating flying, and some people were speculating this, and I didn't really care because I was working, and I didn't really speculate a whole lot. I wanted to save as much of the game as I could before getting into it, which in today's culture of spoilers, that's not entirely possible, but it's not entirely impossible. I saw Sylveon before the game began, fell in love immediately, knew I wanted Sylveon on my team, and oh my goodness, was she amazing. When I was given the Eevee, immediately I knew what I was gonna do. Didn't know how to evolve it though, and didn't want to waste so many levels trying to figure it out. So when I looked up how to evolve Eevee into Sylveon, using Pokemon and me, well, finally there's a purpose to that other function of the game, so let's try it out. And boy, was I surprised. Sylveon is a tank, no matter what anybody says. I love Sylveon, it's the best Eeveelution. All the other ones are not as good, because she can take down dragons, and the other Eeveelutions can't take down dragons as well. Maybe Glaceon, but Glaceon's kind of lame too. I forget that Glaceon even exists. What the? For as much as people get up in arms about Gen 6 and how easy it was, I actually really liked the fact of how easy it was, because when I was playing the game, I didn't think about the game in those terms of how it's so easy. All I could think of was, I'm just steamrolling through this game. I got my Mega Pokemon, got my Sylveon, got my Greninja, let's do this. Furfrou, unfortunately, for as much as I loved him, kind of got left in the wings a little bit, but we leveled him up later on. He became a champion, because Furfrou is a champion. Gotta keep him groomed. Later on, I turned the experience share off because I realized that was something that you can do. That brought a little bit more challenge to the game, but by that point, I was already so over leveled that I was just steamrolling through. I loved all the creative innovations with the changes in the camera angles. You know, I talked about that in Gen 5, where they had changed the camera angles as you were walking through certain paths and cities and bridges and such, and they did the same thing in X and Y, but it was done so much better. There was some frustrating parts when I'm in Paris, Lumio City, and some of the camera angles were a little awkward to where I couldn't see where I was going, but I loved it. And the roller skates were amazing too. So there you have it, guys. Did you play Pokemon X and Y? Which one did you have? What are some parts of it that you absolutely hated? And what were some parts that you really loved? Who was the ace of your team even? You know, for me, I loved this game, and X and Y did nothing wrong in my eyes. I welcomed everything about it, and I loved everything about it, and even in retrospect, I still loved it for as much as it brought to the table and how much joy it brought me. If you like this video, make sure to give it a big old thumbs up, and if you didn't, well, leave that other option alone. We don't need that. What the? Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and ring the bell so you stay updated on all of my future videos. Alrighty guys, see you later.